This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley. Set. Get your energy up. Like you want to, let me see you do like that. Yeah. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley. I am joined by the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, LG007. Lon Graham is in the house.
Good to be here, Cory.
Oh, we're getting better.
All right. It's
Our
good
producer, Willie H. I can't. You like that? I just aged you about 3 decades. Willie H. He's getting better. We got sound effects. We got everything going on. We're super excited. I'm super excited to have you here. If you're streaming this on Spotify, Apple, we're on Google Play. And if you're watching us on YouTube or on the growwithcory.com website, we're super happy to have you and to be back for another week and another episode. We want to inform, we want to entertain also.
Right.
Yeah.
A combination of both.
We've been getting such great feedback. I love the feedback. I thank you for people who are tuning in, who are going to search, who are doing the liking, who are doing the sharing. These are things that are tremendously valuable because, listen, everybody's doing a podcast. Podcasting is, like most things, pitched as this easy thing.
Right.
And I understand, we're maybe fancier than the average in terms of our setup. We just, like excellence, and we want to do things high quality, high level. Shout out to anybody doing their podcast in their basement or a nice quiet space in your rest bathroom or wherever. But it's, it's not easy.
No, not at all.
Particularly from a value perspective. Right. So yes, you can press play, start waxing poetic about whatever. Most people spend a lot of times talking about stuff that they don't even know, right? Or is not actionable, but to have value, and that's the feedback that we're getting, right? The mistakes series that we've done previously with sales, and we've done it with hiring,
right.
And like value content, like where you can. Yes, there were some great laughs. People are realizing, I'm completely insane. I think someone called you the voice of reason, I think, previously. So, but we're just very, very thankful, and we hope you continue to tune in and share. And today it's going to be we got a lot to get through today.
Right. We're going from first to fifth gear real quick.
Yeah. There's there's 12 things.
Okay.
High level. And each of those things have 3 things within them. So we've got like 36 things to get through in our time together. Time isn't infinite. No, don't rush don't. We're going to get there.
Like I said, first to fifth.
But the good news is we're podcasting. We're not on broadcast radio. We're not under the oppressive regime of going to commercial.
Right.
Or hurrying up.
As you've had to deal with in other
of course, in TV,
life.
Talk all you want. The commercials coming on,
Right.
Whether that was on, my time on CBS, CBS affiliates, or even on the radio,
right.
Those things run time because somebody's paying those bills.
Right. That's right.
Maybe we need some advertisers.
Well,
now that I think about it, I like this idea of commercials. Commercial revenue.
Shouting out to anybody listening that's got something that they want to promote. Let's talk.
Yes, Grow Podcast. Now accepting donations and advertisements.
We're at least accepting inquiries.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
We reserve the right to qualify.
Yes. Contact LG007.
100%.
So what we're talking about today, because I love tangible information. I mean, I love stories and stories are very relatable, but I love tangible information. So we've put together a checklist, a series of items that we're calling a checklist, a business growth checklist, something that we believe will be very valuable. That's going to cover a multitude of different areas of your business. Now, understand, some may not be applicable to you. If you don't hold inventory, then when we get to the part about inventory, I understand that that's not for you. But what we're looking at is a 360. So I guarantee you, as we go through this checklist, you are going to hear things that you might want to check up on.
Right.
Right. You hear us talk about this, anything you hear me say over and over again, it's not that I have a bad memory. I'm a big advocate for redundancy, repetition, and the value of that, right? I will not have to, if God forbid we're ever in a situation on an aircraft, you're not going to have to remind me what to do with my air mask. You're not going to have to remind me to do certain things because, of course, they don't ask you, sir, have you heard this speech before?
Right.
If not, you don't have to listen.
Right.
Right. They don't say by show of hands who needs to see the security. They do it every time.
Right.
So we create the redundancy.
Right.
And it's ingrained, and then it's automatic because you don't want to be in a panic situation going, oh, exits? What am I supposed to do with this mask? Right. So you hear it a million times. So there's things that we're going to talk about here that maybe we just come from a different angle.
Right.
But we want to drill that process in to get you thinking so it's automatic.
Right. As an owner and as a leader, it is far better to say one thing 100 times than it is to say 100 things one time. Because if you say one thing 100 times, there is no question about what's important.
Right.
You say 100 things one time, the people listening get to choose from one of 100 as to what matters most to them. So reinforce your message as a business owner. Make sure that the people that are on your team, as a leader, make sure the people that are on your team know what's important. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Right.
We're going to talk about 12 things in your checklist that are important.
Yeah, the checklist, because that makes it easy.
Right.
Right. That's the interesting thing about the checklist, right? So, what are they doing until it's automatic, right? What do they do at Starbucks? They all have the menu cards.
Right.
Until they get good.
Right.
You don't know how much matcha powder is supposed to go on the the almond milk latte, right?
Right.
You got to go over and go, okay, great. It's 2 scoops of this. Fill the ice up outrageously high, so you get no beverage. Talking to you, Starbucks. Ice to the brim. This much drank when you take all the ice out. But anyway, they do that until, of course, the barista gets it. They don't need to know how to make a flat white. They don't need to look at the flip cards. Right. So we want you to have this checklist in terms of methods, identifying strategies, and really helping to shape the trajectory of, the next several months, your time ahead.
Right.
As all of these things change, as we go into 2024.
Right.
Right.
100%.
So we want to be thinking about these. You can call it a tune-up, a checklist, a get-right list, all of these different things. But we want to be able to attack that here, and we've got a bunch of them today. So I'm not going to go in particular order, but we're just going to dive into these things here. As always, Lon has no idea what we're going to be talking about or what's coming, folks. That is by design. I take full credit for his reactions and him hearing stuff in real time. So just know we don't rehearse.
No, as hard as I try,
I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. Yeah, for sure.
Like what we talking about today? Well, you'll find out.
Yeah. Well, funny, I called it audible 20 minutes ago. Lon thought we were talking about something else. We had discussed at lunch that we were going to talk about, and I think he had started to get his talking points together, maybe seed some stuff in his brain, but nope.
Right.
We're doing a checklist today.
Let's roll with it.
So let's talk about this. So first thing I want to talk about is goals.
Okay.
Reviewing your business goals. Okay. So within everything we're talking, we're going to look at 12 different things, but so within each thing is kind of the checklist, right? So it's one big checklist with the 12, and then the checklist items within it. So reviewing your business goals. Now, I want you to target 3 things in particular.
Okay.
One, reevaluating the business goals and objectives.
Okay.
So what were they? Because, oftentimes, right, people overestimate,
okay,
what they can get done in a lot of instances.
Right.
And then they also underestimate, right? So we get to banging on the calculator and doing math. And if we just had 100 customers that paid us X, we'd have X.
Right.
And we discount how much time it may take to get there, right?
Right.
And I by no means am suggesting that we don't remain optimistic, we don't set big goals, but each of those goals belong in a bucket. Right. And there has to be a degree of realism. People talk about this, continuously up your target. Aim for, what is it? Aim for the moon. And if you miss, you'll land with the stars. And listen, shout out to all the great motivators out there, because people need that. People need to be energized. They need to be motivated. They need to hear those messages, jump, grow your wings on the way down, all those fun things. That people say, well-known, right. High-level mentors. People
recognize,
but it sounds inspirational, right? So everything has a purpose. I'm talking about the realism of being in the day-to-day environment in your business, not setting the goal to start and needing to get motivated, right? So what's funny is I use the word reevaluate. This has to assume, you'd be stunned, and you know where I'm going with this, the number of business owners who don't have goals or objectives.
Right. Works from the foundation that you've established some things that you're trying to accomplish.
We want to make a lot of money, Cory. Okay.
Right. Good.
We're going $1 million. Okay. You sell a $9 product. Do you know how many of those you need to sell to hit your number? Like, practically, not that you can't do it. People do it every day, but 100%. But it's like, hey, how do you get there? Right. So we're going to use the word reevaluate if you have not set those goals. And of course, let's do that. But reevaluate your annual business goals and objectives. Number 2, determine which goals are achievable in the remaining timeline. So let's just say we're looking at our business quarterly as an example, right?
Minimum.
Yeah. So as I'm checking on that, what goals have I set that are most achievable within the next timeline that I'm looking at from a track perspective, and then prioritize those. Okay. Right. So if it's new customer acquisition, if it's revenue, if it's realizing a cost savings, right. Or taking advantage of that, determine those goals and prioritize it. And the third thing within that bucket is simple: adjust the strategies if needed to meet your objectives. And why this is important, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Why this is important is, man, this is when we take a detour for a minute because something pops in my head. Right. I refer to this publicly as the Kenny Rogers principle. Okay. Have you heard me talk, William? Have you heard me talk about this yet? So this is the Kenny Rogers principle. So of course, Kenny Rogers, is Kenny Rogers still? He's gone, right? A few years ago. So RIP Kenny Rogers, rest in peace. But Kenny Rogers, of course, notable for a lot of different things. One of his most famous songs is the
Know When to Hold 'Em,
The Gambler. Right. Don't get ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me. Is the song The Gambler. Right. As Lon did in the big reveal here. Famous lines. Right, exactly. Right? You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. Right. You never count your money while you're sitting at the table. You'll be playing time accounting when the dealing's done.
When the dealing's done. That's right.
And why I talk about the Kenny Rogers principle is because many people will set a goal or set a determination to do something, and they will lock in, and they will miss adjustments, miss opportunities, miss pivots, because they're so locked into their one track mind. And it's a miss. They're doing it for the wrong reasons. Okay. And what I mean by that is, I'm locked. I'm not like anybody take me off of my vision. Right. This is my vision. This must happen. It must happen this way. And anybody standing in my way. But there's signs that maybe you got it wrong. Maybe you need to make adjustments. Right. One of our businesses is a startup right now. We're making adjustments. I know what the vision was when we set the vision, and we're still marching towards that vision, but we've changed ways that we're going about doing it. Right. Had I gone, no, it must be this way, it must be that way. We might not be in this. It might not be in business if you don't have the flexibility. So I say people get it wrong. They get it wrong because they think making a change or making an adjustment is some kind of failure or is some kind of no. You just got to keep going. Yeah, I'm all about perseverance, grit, mental toughness, developing those skills. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't zig or zag when the market is telling you to do that.
Well, I think, and I think, Cory, I use sports analogies a lot because that's my background. But I think people get lost in keeping statistics instead of keeping score. And what I mean by that is you get lost in what.
Look at LG. Give LG a whole. Yeah, that's right.
Right. So we'll use basketball, for example. To win the game, you have to score more points than the team you're playing.
Right.
That's what you want to do. But sometimes business owners get lost in rebounds and steals and assists, time of possession. They get lost in keeping statistics as opposed to keeping score. And when you're keeping statistics, how do you know if the statistics are the right statistics if you're not paying attention to the score every once in a while?
Right.
So this goes back to what you're talking about. And what you will continue to talk about is, are you establishing regular cadence to review and reset what you're doing?
Right.
Because while you may be getting a lot of rebounds, if you're not putting the ball back in the basket, you're not scoring any points.
Right.
So if you're not scoring any points, then you're not winning. So what are you doing? And in football, shout out to the Colonial Heights Chiefs. In football, They call them halftime adjustments for a reason. You learn what you did in the first half and what's working and what's not. Right. And you come back out in the second half and you try to do something different because you're trying to score more points. You're trying to win.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what Lon is referring to,
go back
when he says Colonial Heights Chiefs, that is the undefeated world-class football team in Colonial Heights that I was a part of back in my time in the gridiron.
Right. 100%. Don Shula would have been proud.
Yeah. They retired my jersey.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, to my mother's attic.
Okay.
Shout out Colonial Heights Chiefs.
Well done. There you
All
go.
right. Let's go to the next one. Number 2 is your checklist for financial assessment.
Okay.
Looking at your financial statements, looking at profit and loss, looking for trends and areas of concern. Now, the caveat, got to know how to read a financial statement.
Right.
So, I mean, and again, there's courses and classes for that. It's not, it's not being negative, but that to be able to identify, there are guys that are financial whizzes. They'll look at a financial statement. They can tell you where you're leaking money. I mean, they can tell you fast.
Right.
So to be able to understand that, but so many people don't even touch their financial statement or anything like that until like tax time.
Right.
They're not looking at that. They're reconciling their QuickBooks. And listen, folks, if you're not an accountant, stop trying to do your own accounting. There's plenty of services. We live in the gig economy here.
Right.
If you're running your business from 9 to 5 and then at midnight you're trying to be a CPA, doing debits and credits and all this stuff.
Right. Find
a way to sell more. So there's a reason why corporations have departments for this, right? Accounts receivable, the larger the company, right? The larger in that team.
Right.
That's not just because of size. That's because the CEO of that organization, he or she shouldn't be bogged down with that. So, Cory, we nice luxury to have. Well, go sell more of your product.
Right. 100%.
Sell 1, 2, 3 more units and pay the $199 a month to have a professional, accounting group or app or outsource or whatever to do that, or work with a local business owner. Many of your CPAs offer bookkeeping services. But anyway, look at that. See if there's trends. See if there's things. Because a lot of times it's very easy to get away, and particularly in this app society, this subscription stuff. Sometimes I sign up for stuff. It looked good. It caught me in the scroll.
Right.
I'm like, oh, we can use this for our social media. Oh, we can AI this, AI that. Oh, we can use this. And then I just come in and tell people I signed up for this and send them username and passwords and we see what happens. And we end up not using it. We don't know. So like, you know, no one, it's not about being guilt free because this happens here. This happens, you know, with me too. But really starting to pay attention to that and look and see, are you overspending in an area?
Right.
You know, are you overspending? Are you underspending? So you want to look at that again. Number two, then adjust the budget to allocate the resources because sometimes things just get away from you.
Right.
And it happens in all, like even regular bills that you don't think change, they change. There's creep, financial creep, whether taxes change, so the level of service, they introduced a new service level that they didn't tell you about. That's actually more cost efficient for an app that you're buying, right? And you know, you look in the blink of an eye. I used to pay, last year I paid our phone bill for the year. Okay. So I didn't even think about it. Then the renewal came back and I'm like, Jesus, I don't want to. I like to make a monthly payment on this. Like, I mean, because it's just sometimes it's just mental, right? You're like, oh no, I don't want to spend this much. And people better get on this phone. They better start using this phone for what somebody's going to lose phone privileges in here. If they're not you know, 2 phone calls a week. I'm not paying for all this voice over IP, automatically what is the word? You know, when it tells you, what is it? It's transcribe. Yeah. Automatically transcribes the voicemails, call announce, call forward, and all of these feature jingle bell music, Rick Astley, never gonna give you up. Like all these things that they put in there. I'm not paying for all that stuff. Ridiculous. I need to reevaluate and then adjust the budget. I guarantee you right now, there's something in your business budget that probably could get cut. Something that you let go, you haven't paid attention to. We kept the service that was $25 a month for like 2 years because I'm like, I think we're going to use it next month. I mean,
it's only $25 a month. Right.
And what they did was they raised the price. So if we canceled and went back, eventually we would have to pay more.
Right.
So that's like you fall into that trap. But the dollar cost, they won clearly because we ended up canceling it anyway. But after like 6 or 7 months of them getting more of my $25. So let's do that. And then explore new revenue streams and assess the feasibility of implementing them before the end of your next, again, what you're looking at. If it's quarterly, if it's monthly, whatever. But look at where new revenue streams could be. Not chasing something just to chase it, but to really look at, particularly, I like, and I'm advising a lot of our clients, look for adjacent revenue streams.
Okay.
Right. Don't leave the wheelhouse. Don't, you know, I'm saying, hey, if your business is landscaping, I understand it can be attractive to start an ATM route.
And
I'm not saying people don't make money doing that. You just might be better off with something more adjacent. Maybe you start doing gutters as part of your landscaping business.
Things that are already on the property that you have access to where you're already there. Right.
Oh, Cory, I'm getting some vending machines and I run my landscaping business and then now I run my vending. I think you're better off staying in that wheelhouse, particularly because you have to learn a new business. Everybody makes it sound easy. Oh, Cory, you need to get some ATMs and put cash in them, and you get all the fees, or you get you know, it's a fee split with the merchant and the da 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 da. Oh, okay, ta-da.
Until the money runs out.
Well, not that. You go load up and you realize that location is important. And all of the other factors that go into having successful, well, looking at competition, how you need to be capitalized to capitalize on that situation. Whereas if you had just offered, we do hedges now, or we do remulching, or we do aerating, or we do like some of those extra things, you know, we do gardens, we do planting or something, that was an easier lift.
So
running it adjacent.
So, and there's a lot of value in that running, you know, what else can you do when you're already on their lawn?
Right. Correct.
Here's the thing that people miss too. do more of what you already do really, really well. If you're, let's say, okay, we'll use the landscape. We'll use residential landscaping.
Right.
If you're working in somebody's yard and you don't have the neighbor's yard, why don't you go knock on the neighbor's door when you're done with the yard next door so they can see how good it looks?
Yep.
Hey, we're here once a week. We can do yours too.
Right.
Why not expand the business that you're already doing?
That's right.
Either with the people that you're doing it with or with the people that they know that are next to them.
Yep.
That are running in their lane. You talk about picking a parallel lane for your business. Why not pick parallel lanes for the people you're already working with?
That's right.
Find more of them.
100%. 100%. All right. We're going to hit number 3 now. Number 3.
Number 3.
I think we're moving.
Number 3.
Yeah, we've got
a
good cadence. Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. 3 of 38. No, here we go. All right. 3.
He knows it keeps adding.
3 is inventory management.
Okay.
Inventory management.
Okay.
Now, I understand if you have professional service, you're a consultant, you're a coach, you listen to this, obviously your perspective on inventory is different than if you're brick and mortar, right? So inventory management. So assess your inventory levels and then determine if there are overstocked or understocked situations.
Okay.
Because again, I go back to that point. A lot of people are just in a go situation.
Right.
Now, so they get through a period of time, a quarter, end of the year, a seasonal piece, and now they realize they've got, 78. We were at the movie theater. We were at one of the movie theaters recently.
Okay.
And I thought it was peculiar because I hadn't heard them do this, but they were offering an upsell on the drink for 50 cents.
Never heard that before.
But, well, that was peculiar for where we were because it's one of these eat-in diner places,
okay. So
so not your standard. Yeah.
Right.
But so, they're coming to you to serve and bring the food.
Right.
But they go, for an extra 50 cents, you get, it's a larger size. All right, 50 cents. I mean, yeah, who doesn't want more calories?
Right.
So you do that. But what was funny is when they brought the drink out, you got a commemorative cup. And it was a Taylor Swift movie cup.
Oh.
And that movie hadn't been has been out of theaters for a while now. But you got a Taylor Swift. So all that meant was they were trying, because the 50-cent bump, because it's, 2 cents worth of Coca-Cola extra that goes in there, right?
Right.
So 50-cent bump was an offset
to
dump these cups.
Right.
Right. So they didn't sell through what they had. They had they had overstocked inventory on Taylor Swift cups. So the way to get rid of them, because they did not normally do upsells at the place.
Right. Okay.
So the way to get rid of them was to create this upsell opportunity to get rid of these Taylor Swift cups.
Sure.
So what do you have now? And again, what ways to do this? Because people will get lazy in different scenarios where you have sales days, President's days, these different things where consumers are anticipating sales. And I'll go 10% off or 15% off or whatever. Well, why don't you look at inventory you may overstocked and maybe instead of giving a discount on current products and impeding your revenue, give away something that's a low cost item that's overstocked, right?
Right.
All cups come with free straws because we went heavy in the straw department. So you want to look at that because number 2 is optimizing your inventory turnover so you can free up cash. Maybe you need to wholesale some stuff out and get it off your plate. Some people hold out for so long. There's a place that we go. Bless their hearts. Old couple, they've been there forever. And there's a place that we go, shoe repair, shoe shine, shoe repair.
Sure.
Okay. Right across the street from where you bank.
Okay.
That shopping center. So you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
And when I go in there to get some shoes repaired or something like that, they have stuff that you can buy. Lon, that stuff, I've walked up to some of the products and looked at the expiration date.
Okay.
Like, shoe protector or a bomb or something. Things that would have an expiration date because there's chemicals involved.
Sure.
Lon, there's stuff in there that's got 2011 on it.
Wow. This isn't 2011.
Right. This is for sure. For sure.
This is AC, not
but
BC.
There's stuff that is so old sitting on like they have. I mean, obviously they pay no attention to, and I don't think they're ordering new. Like it's not old next to new. It's just like
It's clutter.
stuff you can't even find anymore.
Right. It's clutter.
What's the Mr. Good Ready or something? It was like a painkiller called Mr. Goody or something.
Goodies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think you could get that anymore. I think
it's hard to
that's
find.
been bought and sold by like somebody owns that.
It's hard to find.
Like, well, I can tell you where it is. I can tell you where to go to get the original goodies.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's just stunning to me. There's no course. They must have lost their shirts on inventory over time. Now, of course, they've recovered from having it sit there, but there's stuff in there that has to be there. They've been there forever. Has to be 15 years old. Things that expire. They're not even checking for these things.
Well, you'd have to wear eye protection just to pull it off the shelf because all that dust would get in your eyes.
For sure. That's not even an exaggeration. You have told no lies with that one. So optimize that inventory. See what you can you wholesale? Are there adjacent businesses that could use that extra product or overflow that you have?
Right.
That happens in the auto industry, right? They shipped me 7 red whatever, it's all the same. I would call another dealer and say, hey, I've got some extra inventory. Do you want to unload? Do you want to swap? Do you want to do something like that?
Right.
But to do that, you got to be vigilant. And you got to be paying attention to it.
Right.
Explore, and last one here, explore bulk purchase discounts or negotiate with suppliers for better payment terms.
Right.
If you have free cash right now, can you prepay? Can you offer a prepay for some services and get a discount?
Right.
That will save you. We have one of our clients in our coaching program. He pays for the whole year, for the next year up front.
Okay.
I mean, he has no plans to leave.
Right.
We have a solid relationship. We're providing value, tremendous value. And for him, it's just financially makes more sense. How he writes off, how he does his test, whatever it is. He's like, I don't want to fool with monthly payments.
Right.
So here it is, pays for the year. And then he's like, no conversation about money. Doesn't get weird if something happens with the charge or nothing. Like, it's just done, out the way, and he's moving on. And there's a lot of people, you'd be surprised, there's a lot of people out there that would take advantage of those things.
Right.
It's not just a corporate thing.
No, not at all.
So maybe there's an opportunity to get a better deal, to renegotiate, depending on what you do or what you offer, as another way on the inventory side of things.
Well, I think there's two things. One is on the inventory piece itself. We're talking about products, we're talking about parts and services, or parts specifically. Sometimes at the end of the year, like if you have a really good handle on your inventory and how much you go through on a regular basis, and at the end of the year or the end of the fiscal year or the end of the quarter, there's an opportunity maybe to get a pricing incentive because somebody's trying to unload some of their inventory.
Right.
Go ahead and stock up a little bit if you know that you're regularly selling that.
Yes.
So take advantage of that. It means buying a little bit more up front, but over the long run, it's more cost effective for you. The other thing I want to say is I want to go back to the very beginning when you talked about coaches and consultants. Your inventory is time. That's the only inventory you have if you're doing coaching. So do you know what your time is? Do you know how much of your time is actually in coaching and consulting?
Right.
Versus how much time you have to spend selling that coaching and consulting time.
Yes.
And are you adequately or appropriately assessing the value of that time? So if you consistently get people asking you to do things that you don't have time to do,
right?
Have you evaluated the value of your inventory, which is your time? Is now a good time to assess the value and maybe even increase your fees or your rates because your demand is going up?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I everybody has a price opportunity. Sometimes the market's telling you to adjust downward. Sometimes the market's telling you to adjust upward. So don't be afraid. We'll work on that's a good topic. The psychology of thinking about price and the psychology of value. That's going to be a good topic for us to cover because that's also another conversation I have with a lot of clients who devalue, their product or service.
Right.
Will somebody pay that? Well, not if that's how you're going into it.
Right. Exactly.
No. And please don't present it that way.
Well, people lead so much with what they don't do instead of what they do.
Sure. 100%. All right. We got to pick up the pace now. I thought we were making good time.
We were doing good till we ran.
All right. We're going to pick up the pace. Number 4. Because this may be a part 2 episode. I don't know. But number 4, customer engagement. Customer engagement.
Right.
Are you analyzing the customer data to identify buying patterns and preferences? So, I mean, that's something that we do
regularly.
That we do here.
Right.
I want to understand the buyer. I want to understand age group. I want to look at gender. I want to look at all those things.
Right.
Profession. What do they do? The people that invest with us in our various products and services here. What are the common threads between them? Down to do they belong to the same group? How did they hear about us? Is there an opportunity to go there? So analyze the customer data to identify buying patterns and preferences. Number 2, develop personalized promotions and rewards, particularly for your customers.
Right.
Magically, of course, practice what you preach. So as you hear me saying that, right now we're rolling out a 3-phase program for retention for our business network in terms of working with those clients, rewarding them, and we're doing that right now. So it's one of the things that always excites me about the things that we talk about. These are our realities as well, not just back in the day when we sold that company for $1 billion, here's what we did. Well, what's going on right now?
Right.
I just think it's not valuing all of that, but I think there's just something extra special about walking the path with someone or having that advice in that way. That I think is just interesting. So develop the promotions and rewards. And the third thing is implement customer feedback strategy. If you don't have a feedback strategy right now, whether that be surveys, looking for those areas of improvement so you can make those changes, make those adjustments in the market as you need to, and get outside of your bubble. And the interesting thing about that is, even if you're going to your team is still inside your bubble.
Right.
And that's the interesting. I was having this conversation with a client this morning where he said, I got this feedback from my team that we should make this adjustment. And I said, well, keep in mind, your team is not even your customer.
Right. That's right. I mean,
right. So the real question would be the advice that they're giving you. How do they apply it in the areas where they are a consumer? I guarantee you they ignore what you just said. We were having a conversation about how many things you can put in the newsletter, like how much scrolling, there's too much scrolling that people have to do too much scrolling. Well, that's all we do on our phones. Yeah. We're programmed to scroll.
Right.
Instagram is a scroll.
We're
Facebook is a
scroll.
Correct. So the idea that you've got a couple extra specials, or they've got to scroll to get some more information or see another coupon or something, I don't think is a real problem.
Well, and scrolling is not new.
Right.
I mean, a newspaper is a form of scrolling. Back 50 years ago, when you didn't have electric devices, they had the top of the fold, and then they have on the front page, here's what you're going to find. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a form of scroll, just delivered differently.
Right. 100%.
So don't be afraid to have to engage your client and keep them.
That's right.
And so if that's a way to keep your client, do that.
But people are not going to, Lon, I get 1 gajillion emails from Williams Sonoma.
Right.
I never unsubscribe.
Right.
Because there's going to be something in that email.
Waffle iron that you're looking for that's going to be on sale.
Or don't know I'm looking for it.
Right.
And they're going to tell me that I need to have it.
Right. Or there's that cocoa that you've been trying to get.
Or the 25% coupon that only comes out once a year.
Right.
And now I get permission to go buy something I don't need.
Right. Well, it's like, it's on sale.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on sale.
Exactly. I mean, I've got a toaster oven, but who doesn't? Maybe I want a toaster. Maybe I wanted to just stick to one thing.
So let's go back to, I think it was the second one.
Yep.
We're talking about how are you engaging with your clients?
Right.
So there's the initial transaction, the initial buy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a reason that these things are called loyalty rewards.
Yep.
Loyalty. What are you doing to retain these people? Keep them engaged in your business. Williams Sonoma is a great example.
Yep.
You get at least 2 emails a day from them.
Right.
At least. And that's being conservative. And you don't unsubscribe because you like what they have to offer.
Right.
It's their way of creating touch points for you. And eventually they're going to motivate you to come into the store or go to the website. And when you do, there's something else you're going to want.
Right.
How do you keep the people engaged? So, and we'll go back to the very first one where we talk about acquiring new clients as part of your plan. Or are you looking at the clients that you have now and how you can grow that business? And this loyalty rewards program brings that all together.
Right.
How are you growing the business with the people that are already buying from you?
I'm laughing because I'm not actually, I'm not technically laughing. I'm laughing on the inside. I'm laughing because a few minutes ago, a little while ago, we talked about overestimating and underestimating
time.
So I overestimated how much we could get done within the time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this a part 2. We're going to get through 2 more of these. We're going to get dead at, we're going to hit 6, right? Because we're coming up on 5. We're going to hit 6, and then we're going to leave it. We're going to leave you on a little cliffhanger.
Right. Part 2.
Yeah. And we will do part 2 of this. Yeah.
Well, and I think
because there's a lot more stories that are going to come up in between now and 12.
Right.
And we're not Joe Rogan, so we don't have 2 hours. We don't have a 3-hour podcast yet.
Right. Well, and I think too, I think it devalues if we try and rush through it. It devalues the value of the content.
Okay. All right. So we just wanted to make that announcement. See, folks, I'm guilty of over.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, 12. We should be able to knock that out in our normal time frame.
That was our mid-year our first quarter assessment.
That's what you call wrong. Wrong. All right. Number 5. We're at number 5. Okay. Marketing strategies.
Okay.
Okay. Number 5. So this is a great time to assess the ROI of your current marketing strategies and make those adjustments, right? Again, for this to work, you have to be paying attention to that, and you have to be looking out for that. Number 2, look at what promotions and campaigns. Many times people just go, they're going through their normal sales cycle, their normal approach, whatever it is that they do. And they whether have a reliance on the calendar, President's Day, Black Friday, Memorial Day, and they have that's their promotional opportunity.
Right.
They're not in the driver's seat with their own promotions or their own campaigns. Here's the problem. Yes, I expect on President's Day, Memorial Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, I expect there to be some deal going on.
Right.
The problem is everyone has a deal going on. It's when somebody's zigging, you zag. When's your promotion that no one else is promoting?
Here's the other thing, in addition to what you just said. First of all, you're just like everybody else. Second of all, you train your customers how to buy from you.
That's right.
If you want them to buy from you all year round, then stop offering President's Day sales. Stop offering 4th of July sales. Or do it differently. Increase the value for what you're getting, but don't slash your prices. Because your customers are buying from you the way you tell them to buy from you. So if you have these patterns of discounting and patterns of sales, they're going to wait, especially your regular customers.
No, right. Everybody knows the certain holidays, but what they're not expecting a flash sale. They're not expecting, those were when marketing, particularly email and text marketing came in to the restaurant industry. The beauty was with these apps, the idea was by collecting that data, particularly in the text, one of the things that the highly effective and progressive restaurants were doing is they were working that list when they had openings and gaps. Okay. So Tuesday night, it's dead. Let's get a text out for buy one, get one entree. Because we're open anyway. We're paying staff. We're paying kitchen people. We've got now we may, I like to use my restaurant vernacular. They may be cutting people, the way they cut you. So you might cut some people, but you're not going to be empty. Nope. So the lights are still on. Like it still costs money to turn that key. Right. So now they would use that and say, hey, from tonight 5 to 9, and they would get people to take that offer, right? Buy one entree, get one free, 15% off. They didn't wait for President's Day or wait for whatever to do that promotion. There was a purpose that it served for them. In the auto industry, December was considered, just let's see what we can do, until Lexus started December to Remember. And back in that time, when I worked for Lexus, that was Christmas. That literally was Christmas for all of us on the sales side.
Right.
That was our biggest month.
Right.
Toyota made August Toyotathon. They created it.
Right.
And now after Lexus perfected it, and Lexus would have record numbers in December, then you started seeing Audi seasons of savings.
Right.
You started seeing BMWs. You started seeing everybody have these trends in a month that wasn't a big month for auto sales, as an example.
Okay.
So again, you went with the unconventional
Right.
to get ahead. So think about what you can be doing promoting, not just in the lead up to, because everybody and their mother
Right.
is going to be dropping emails on these holidays, right? And you're going to be inundated.
Well, yeah, and think about it too from the inside out, not just from your clients. Like I've managed large sales teams in multiple organizations, and we would offer some incentives to spike some of our sales at the end of the mid-year, at the end of the year.
Also predictable.
Well, also predictable. And what we found out is that because we would compromise sales in the first month of the next year, because our people would overload in the last month of this year.
Right.
So we started to change where we incentivized and rewarded increased sales so that we didn't compromise the next year.
Right.
So you sell 2 months in one, and now you're trying to make up 3 months in the first 2 months of the year.
Right.
So it just understand too from the inside out, how are you rewarding the people that are selling what you have to offer?
Yep.
If you have a sales team or if you have a couple people that do sell for you full time.
Right. No, 100%. Last one there, optimize. So online, we're always talking about online, optimize your online presence. So this is a great time to reevaluate your SEO, great time to reevaluate your social media, as well as email marketing. Because again, a lot of people, because they don't understand it, they'll set it and forget it. Ron Popeil, right? Shout out to Ron Popeil, Rotisserie Chicken. He coined that phrase, set it and forget it. And that's how they treat things. Oh, okay, I did SEO.
Right.
Oh, so much changes in the algorithms and all these different things. So having that tuned up, we pay someone every month for our network, for our VA Small Business Network. I pay someone every month to go in and audit our SEO, audit our links, audit anything that could potentially going wrong with our inventory, with our inventory being our featured interview content being displayed properly, being indexed properly. They run it through Google report. They look at graphing. They look at all these different things.
Right.
So that we're not, we're quote unquote optimized.
Right.
And now you may not need to do that because you're not running a media company, but you need to, in those increments, know what's going on, from that perspective. Are your plugins updated? Like you need to be commanding that of your vendors, knowing what's going on. If you're in a DIY scenario where you're doing that stuff yourself, we need to be taking that on because it's not just a one and done. If your social media is tired and busted out,
right,
it's the same thing. If you're on your third cycle of the same banners for X, Y, and Z for this holiday or that holiday or whatever, this is the time when you have to look at it. What trends have changed? I mean, because things happen so fast and you don't always get notified,
Right.
One day you could post, one day a reel was 1 minute and 15 seconds. And then the next day they decided it was only going to be a minute. Now you got to adjust.
Right.
But if you're not paying attention, you're still doing minute and 15 and getting cut off.
Well, and I think to your point, this is a great opportunity to reinforce, make decisions about what's most effective for you and then monitor that. You don't have to have everything.
Make data-driven decisions. Don't just make decisions. Well, make decisions not emotionally. I don't like that TikTok.
Well, evaluate where your clients are and where the people are that you're trying to reach. Right.
Only the young people on TikTok. Young people. My mother. If I go on my, I log in and look at my mother's credit card statement because you can, when somebody buys something through the TikTok shop, that's they're the merchant. And then it funnels where it needs to go.
Right.
So I can't tell you how many TikTok shops This better not be a clip. My mother won't listen. I don't think she listens to the whole podcast, but she listens to all the clips we put on TikTok. So I need to make sure that this doesn't become a clip
Right.
there. But TikTok shop. So don't believe the hype. If you're a business owner right now, you're not doing anything on TikTok. You don't have a channel. You don't have a presence. You don't necessarily be spending money from the advertiser standpoint, but don't believe the hype. Because you're in actuary insurance or you sell Aflac or whatever, that you don't need to be on, or that, you're in the mortuary business, or don't think you don't need to be on TikTok, because my mama's there.
There you go.
And your mama's probably there. So, all right. We want to optimize. All right. Here's number 6.
Number 6. All right.
William, what do we got? We got a drum, but it's the lead up. 6, because this is going to be the end of part 1.
Of this one.
Of part 1. Oh, look, we got drum roll.
Here we go.
Number, people weren't expecting it. Number 6. I can do anything I want. I really love this. I just felt that right there. That I wanted to go full Michael Buffer on them real quick there, right? See how long. I'm going to try to see how long I can do that next time. All right. Number 6 before we get out of here. Employee performance and morale.
Okay.
Employee performance and morale. Okay. 3 elements in there. Number 1, review employee performance and provide feedback. And why this is important, if you're a big company, you can give me the, okay, Cory, nothing groundbreaking here. If you're a smaller organization, most of you don't do this. Most of you are not checking in.
Right.
You're not telling people where they are, where they're not, managing expectations, because everybody's just working on the business.
Right.
You got a 7-person business. You're just not doing it.
Right.
You're not looking at it that way. You're not providing feedback. So it doesn't matter how small you are. If you're, and like we even do this, I'm getting ready to do this with our contractors and the people that we outsource business to, that work exclusively for us or more on the bulk side of us.
Right.
I want to have those conversations. Here's what's going right. Here's what we like, what you're doing. Here's what we don't. Here is that feedback element that is very, very important for people. Number 2, look at ways to recognize and reward high-performing employees. And that's not always financial. I mean, sometimes, again, it's the little things that are the factors here, in terms of building cohesion, building team. And this is important, too, particularly if you're in a virtual environment, because that's even harder to keep that morale, together and look at ways to reward. And there's a lot of simplicity in that, in terms of what do people, you have Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As a company, could you make a $25 donation in the name of, if you knew you had an employee who maybe had a family member, a parent, someone who battled that, maybe lost that battle. Hey, Lon, I made a $25 donation. We, wanted you to know, we know this is, a year, this is something personal to you, made a $25 donation in your name.
Right.
There are ways to do this that can be very impactful, and there are gestures to do this. And the third thing is team building activities. Team building activities and outings that boost morale and have team cohesion. So you've got your individual things, you've got your performance aspects to help level set people, you have your gratitude and kind of reward mechanism, and then you have these things that can do cohesion, right? We're going to a group, we're all going to a private dinner next week.
Right.
So to just reflect on our time, reflect on where we've come, what we've got accomplished and these different things, right?
Right.
And just take that moment to celebrate and look at those things. I think those are valuable things, Okay. We even said, when we were looking at the time and we were trying to get the time aligned, we were going to move a time because someone might have needed to, wasn't going to be able in that time. We're going to move the time because it's important. Right. That everybody, be together and everybody experience that. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think going back to the first one, Cory, we talk about evaluation and assessment and coaching.
Yep.
And the the thing that people lean to, especially in small businesses, especially when time is tight and everything's moving 100 miles an hour, the thing that we tend to do is we tend to coach first. And the challenge is when we're coaching, we're focused on what's wrong. And the people that are on our team and in our organizations want to get better. And they want to learn from us. They want to learn from the owner. They want to learn from the leader how to get better. But they're only willing to listen to how to get better when you give them credit for where they are now.
Right.
And so I have this philosophy about coaching is credit first and then coach. Give them credit for the work that they did to get to where they are. And then say, here's where we want to be and here's what we need to do. Coach them how to get to close that gap. Because once you give them credit, you recognize and validate the work that they've done. You may not love all of it,
Right.
but make sure that you recognize what you do love. Make sure you recognize and give them credit for the work that you want them to keep doing first. It's a lot easier to coach because it's easier to identify what's wrong than it is to pick from all the things that are right. So give them credit. Say, here's what I like what you're doing. I want you to keep doing this, and you're doing it really, really well, and this is critical to our organization. Here's what we want to be. Here's what we need to do to get there. Here's what we coach you up.
Yep.
And so, but first, give credit. And it goes back to recognizing maybe you give them a Tuesday off so that they can go see their daughter play soccer. Let them leave early one day. Say, you know what? You've been working hard. You've been here the last 3 Saturdays. Take the afternoon off. Go have lunch with your daughter. Go have lunch with your son. Go have with your spouse, your best friend, whatever it is. Give them some time along the way too. Every once in a while, just say thank you for what you're doing.
Now, and tell you, I'm pulling out my phone so those of you on YouTube can see what I'm doing. But I want to show you something so you know that I mean, not that you wouldn't believe me, but I want you to see this. Can you see this right here? Don't say the name. I don't want to put the name out there. Okay, I know. I stepped away from the mic. He's yelling at me. You see the name right there. Okay. And then you see the date on that. What does that say?
13.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah. This is a voicemail that I kept from this is a guy that worked for me back then. And he, by working for me, it got him a better opportunity that he, had to take. Like he couldn't have passed it up. Sure. But it created an opportunity for me. I keep this voicemail. It's a 1-minute voicemail. And in the voicemail, he's thanking me. Right. And this guy is probably 20 years my senior. Okay. And he's thanking me. He's saying, listen, I've worked for, many organizations in my career. My time working for you was one of the most impactful times as someone looking out for me and caring for me as an individual and my family. And I just keep this voicemail as a reminder and as a story I tell and as proof of the story of what he says in there. And that was all because we simply paid attention. Right. Pure. Right. We paid attention. It's not that hard to write someone's name down and their date of birth or their anniversary, or their children's names or the children. Like it's not that hard. The system does most of the work for you. Then you just got to react and have things in place to do that. So and there was a guy who'd worked for big companies who was had high esteem. He was a highly qualified guy. So for him to take the time to not only thank us but to make that comment was just something that I carry around with me because it was just touching to see that you're doing the right thing because maybe you don't get them all right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, hey, listen, I don't know. Keep it to yourself, as I say, but we try and we continue to get better. So I think there's a lot of value there. All right. We've got a hard stop.
We got 6.
So we got through 6. We've got 6 more to go, which we're going to cover in part 2. And as usual, Lon will not know what the 6 are because that's part of the fun.
Well, exactly. And what we've just done is at halftime, we're going to make some adjustments.
No, I got the other 6.
We're going to come back.
Yeah, I got the other 6. Right,
but the adjustments that we're making are, okay, we recognize the amount of time that we took that we didn't think we would take.
That is correct.
And now going forward, we know what to expect.
I think people want the other 6, but this is good because we want you to tune in. Right. We want you to we want you to share. We want you to be talking about this. We love your comments as long as they're positive. If they're not, as you know, my theme, keep them to yourself. But we appreciate the value here and we want those tangibles, right? We want those tangible things that you can those tangible things that you can do and take action. So we're giving you a whole week to take action on the 6
Right.
before we come back and give you the next 6.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Stay tuned. You might be going to. I have to go 5 days a week on this on this podcast here. There's just so much that I want to talk about, and so much to get out. And the fact of the matter is, people need help now.
Right.
I mean, people need help daily.
Yes, they do.
So you guys keep supporting the podcast, commenting, liking, drop us a review, share, and we're gonna keep the content coming. So we appreciate your time as always here. Of course, stream us however you're streaming us. Continue to enjoy that. Also know we're on YouTube. We're also Grow with Cory. A lot of free resources on growwithcory.com that you can go, including a video series that we recently did that's available to everybody. The 5 pillars of business growth, which everyone heard me talk about in the early episodes here. So we've got a nice video series that goes into those 5 pillars completely free. Get it right on our homepage at growwithcory.com. And I think that's it for this edition of the Grow Business Podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm Cory Mosley, and
I'm Lon Graham, and thanks for listening, and thanks for the great comments, and please keep them both coming.
Willie H., take us out of here, baby. That's excellent.